All right, let's get to the last review. Back to the haha comedy stuff,
Yeah.
and get off this depressing topic. And this week's movie was Dumb and Dumber, starring Jim Carrey and
Jeff Daniels.
Jeff Daniels. For some reason, I was thinking of Jeff Bridges,
I
even though
do
I
the
know
same
that's
thing.
wrong.
I do the same exact thing. And it's like they look nothing alike, but their names are. It's just
Yeah,
I do the same
it doesn't
thing.
help that I recently this morning I watched a movie with Jeff Bridges in it, so that didn't help matters. Um, yes, but Dumb and Dumber came out in what 90? Oh, let me just check real fast.
Four. I think it was 94.
You're probably right. Came out in 1994.
Bingo, bango, bongo.
Yes, and it's about two simpletons who kind of get caught up in a kidnapping plot with these kind of elite people, and one of them falls in love with the wife of the individual who gets kidnapped.
Yep.
And it's kind of and they go on like this kind of misadventure to return a briefcase, which we don't understand the significance, but or no, we do understand the significance right away because we kind of understand it as as, as it being a briefcase full of money.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. So you have Jim Carrey's character is Lloyd Christmas. I always forget Jeff Daniels' character name.
Harry Dunn.
Yeah, thank you, Harry
Yeah.
Dunn. And it's kind of they're kind of these two dummies that through kind of a Forrest Gump like happenstance kind of are always kind of um, spoiling the plans of the guys that are coming after them. It's like, who are these guys? How did they know? And it's like, in reality, it's like they're just, it's just pure dumb luck.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's summed up perfectly by one of the henchmen, where the Lloyd and Harry, they're telling them, why they're going to, why they're going to Aspen, and what the briefcase is. And it's like henchman's like, it's like, oh man, you guys were at the wrong place at the wrong time. And
Yeah.
it just kind of and it kind of it's just kind of like perfectly sums up like the movie. So here's like these two
Yeah.
hapless pair of guys who literally don't know anything like that's going on, and and they just get they just kind of get snowballed into like this whole affair, uh, and don't understand the significance.
Yeah. And it's just the whole movie is just a series of shenanigans and great slapstick comedy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Jim Carrey is he's a crazy man for as we all know, but his comedy he's one of the best physical comics that's in the movie sphere today, I would say. I think to me this is his great like physical comedy time. Like this is probably
Right.
like
Yeah. I mean, and I dare say that I would dare say that Dumb and Dumber is his magnum opus.
Yeah, I would say that's true. Like this is like the height of kind of slapstick Jim Carrey.
Right. I think because you know, in the first Ace Ventura movie, he was still kind of fresh off. He was still fresh, and so he didn't have like the experience. So you could see a lot of like the weird ticks that he did. It was from inexperience. Um,
Yeah.
and so, but then in the subsequent films that he did, like Dumb and Dumber and Liar Liar and The Mask, you see a refining of his skill, or like at least his acting skills. And I think this is like I would dare say that Dumb and Dumber was his magnum opus.
It's just the I went like unlike the case of like Fast Times where like there's a lot of to me a lot of great like one-liners.
Mm-hmm.
This movie has it's the physical comedy that makes it funny. Just because they're
Right,
the
like
characters.
they're like because like their reaction to eating the peppers, and they do like the crazy things with like the ketchup and mustard. Um,
Yeah.
what else? Um, or when Harry's character licks the frost on the ski lift.
Yeah.
Or
Oh god.
so just like
And
a
it
lot
just
of like look got a lot of good like physical comedy work. Um,
I would say like the one like great line from the film is and I think it's probably used quite a bit is when Lloyd Christmas kind of comes and shares his feelings um with the female lead and she was like oh and it's like oh just give it to me straight, what are your feelings about me? And it's like yeah, it'd be like one in a million. And you think, and the natural reaction is like,
right, you see
oh,
like
yeah,
you see the look on his face, and he's like you think like he's being his heart is being crushed like a soda can. But then
yeah.
but then all of a sudden his eyes like get really big, and he's like, "So you're saying there's a chance?"
And then, and then the best part is like, when the main villain kind of comes in, and it's like she says something like, oh, it's like, he's saying it's like, oh, we have your husband. It's like, husband? What's all this one in a million talk?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
it's great.
but also just in like I think the cast was pretty stellar because you have like a lot of you know I mean not only do you have well they kind of not they don't really get utilized that well, but I mean you have Terry Garr, of young Frankenstein, and God, what's the other, like basically all the stuff that either Gene Wilder or Mel Brooks has created. Yeah,
Yeah,
you have Terry Garr as Mary, Lauren Holly's Mary Swanson's like mother or stepmother.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and then you have a lot of like comedic talent in this movie beyond Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. I think.
Yeah, everyone like played their roles really well. Um, I think obviously Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey really play off of each other very well. Like their chemistry on camera, like on in the film, is just great because they, one of them will do one thing and it's like they just it's kind of like they know what to do. It's just really it's great
Right,
comedy.
and at the time, Jeff Daniels was kind of like dark horse casting because he was more of a serious actor. He just done I think like Arachnophobia and he tends to do more like the serious drama type of
Right,
acting.
right.
But to cast him in this comedy, and really holding his own with Jim Carrey. That's a feat there, right there.
Yeah, it was yeah, definitely it's surprising how that casting worked out as Harry. Yeah, him as Harry Dunn was he was just as funny as Jim Carrey was,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like the story wise, like a lot of the comedies, with the story isn't always the most important, but it's we're doing all these different types of comedies. Like this one is our slapstick comedy.
Mm-hmm.
We had Fast Times as kind of like our teen sex com dramedy. We have horror comedy. Stuff. All we're looking at all the different type of genres of comedy that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is for slapstick comedy. Like this is one of the great ones that you got to watch. I think it holds up today. Although one thing that is kind of like I think people might be, at least young people would be confused by is there's a scene where they're at one of the henchmen is at in a phone booth.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
It's like,
man,
what's a
that's
phone
something.
booth?
Yeah, yeah. It's like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, I know. It's yeah. Yeah. Just yeah. I think that might be the biggest kind of cultural kind of artifact from this movie. Is a payphone, a phone booth.
Yeah. Other than that, like, I think it relates pretty damn well to even today. It's
Yeah, I think it still holds up. Although I don't think I don't think a movie like this would pass the sniff test for the liberal outrage mobs.
well. Here's what they would do nowadays. See, Lloyd Christmas and Harry Dunn would become women. That would be how they would do that. But see, the problem is they wouldn't be as good at slapstick comedy. So it's
Right,
just kind
because
of
they be women.
yeah, it would be a crappy version.
Uh,
You're so sexist.
it's not hate speech if it's a fact.
Well, that's the problem is though that they don't like facts.
Of course, yeah, and whatever facts they don't like, they dub a hate speech. So it's like this
Yeah,
constant feedback loop, in itself.
it's the put their hands over their ears and go la 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 la. I'm not listening. La la la. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh,
it's funny because it's just like because here's the thing: this movie plays onto kind of gendered kind of stereotypes or norms, or it's or at certain points it subverts them. Um, an example of that is at the end of the film where they're like they're walking walking on the road, presumably back to their home in God, was it Rhode Island? Yeah, Rhode Island. And then
yeah.
the Tropicana bus pulls up, and all the bikini babes are there, and like they ask us like, oh, we're looking for two oil boys to help oil us up before each competition. And then this kind of like big smile comes over their face, and it's like, you're in luck. It's like, because there's a
There is
town
a
3 miles that way, and I'm sure you'll be able to find somebody there. And then the women, like, they kind of have like this puzzled look on their faces, and then like they take off, and then
They're like, okay.
yeah, Jim Carrey's Lloyd Christmas is like, it's like Harry, do you know what you did? And he goes and runs after the bus, And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, you have to forgive my friend. He's a little slow. It's like the town is back that way.
Yeah.
It's just like, and it's like, it's just, that's how subversion is supposed to be done, because it's, you take what you take what kind of like, and that's why I think kind of these gendered norms, or kind of like kind of like, uh, let's not say norms, but trends. Let's say like these gender trends are important because you think two men in the company of beautiful women, you think it'd be obvious, but to subvert it, it's like to subvert it, you add the element that these guys are basically retarded, and so they send the women off.
Right. Well, the whole movie is kind of like that. And that's what makes it funny is you're expecting one thing to happen, which would be funny, but then they hit you with something completely unexpected, and that's where like a lot of the the laughter and the comedy comes from, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, like the line that we were sharing about earlier. So you saying there's a chance, like, and you see his face, like it's like, oh, he realizes that like she wants nothing to
Right?
do with
Yeah,
him.
it's another subversion because you think like she just crushed his heart like a soda can, but then he's like, and then his eyes kind of lift up and get big, and it's like, and then like this swell of optimism comes over him, and it's like, so you're saying there's a chance?
It's like that. It's so like you don't expect it.
Exactly. And I think again, so I think having trends or stereotypes or isn't inherently wrong or evil. It's just, it just is. It's like saying all men have penises. It's not hateful. It's just fact. It just is.
You heteronormative bastard.
I know. All right. If this doesn't get us a hate comment, I don't know what will.
um, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Me too. All right.
Any other thoughts on Dumb and Dumber, or should we give our rating?
No, that pretty much sums it up. Yeah, let's wrap this up. I guess I'll start this time, and I will give this movie. I'm gonna give this movie a 4.
I'm gonna give it a 4.2. So I like my scores on both movies.
I know. Why are you giving up these retarded scores, man? Messing everything up. You're messing up the average, man.
But my scores even out. Like it's 3.8, 4.2. It's kind
Ah, you
of
and your irregular numbers. Fuck you.
but anyways, I say that because I think the movie accomplished what it set out to do. Um, it's great slapstick comedy, great physical comedy, a lot of unexpected moments where you're expecting it to go
Yeah, I
one
think it's
way and it
great
hit you
subversive
something else.
humor, great physical comedy. Um, I think the casting was stellar. And Lauren Holly back then, tasty. She was a tasty piece. I tell you what.
Yes,